I'm Pastor Jake. I was talking to a gentleman earlier, and he was telling me that, we're talking about marriage. And he said, well, we got married, and then from Justice of Peace, and then about a month later, we got married at the church. He said, then we built it, and it was built on God. And I said, well, this whole thing, I always ask people, how did your relationship start out? Did you commit adultery before you were married? Because see, this is one of the commandments from God. God took this serious. That adultery is a bad thing. It is a sin that God holds high in his heart. Because he wants you to do it his way. He said when you build your foundation his way, it's a good foundation. But most time we build it on this worldly foundations. So then we try to build God's church on top of that family and relationships on top of a bad foundation, and they keep crumbling. And people ask me all the time, I don't understand why my marriage is crumbling. I don't understand why it's not solid. We built it on God. I said, well, when did you build it on God? I've heard even pastors tell me this. Because before they were pastors, they were living with their wife. And I said, well, we did that. We told God we want to build it on him. But did you do anything for God? Did you give something to God? Did you take time for God? Sometimes I tell people just take, 2 or 3 hours out. Sit with your wife. If you don't have 2 or 3 hours, take as much time as you can. But you need to give something to God. You need to tear down that old foundation and build a new one. Remarry. I mean, it's about you and your heart with God. About your marriage with God. If you're going to be one with your wife, or you're going to be worldly one with your wife, or you're going to be godly one with your wife. That's the choices you have to make. Like I said, adultery is a big deal. In this time and generation, you see it on television all the time. People sleeping with each other, doing things they shouldn't be doing. That God says is a sin, but the world says it's okay. Well, we got to remember what the world says okay to, sometimes is not okay. We have to listen to God. If you're going to be a child of God, then you have to listen to God. That's the main reason about foundations. A lot of people don't listen to God. They want to do it their way and then tell God how to run it. Well, God doesn't work that way. God doesn't change his mind, and he's not going to change his mind. So build your foundation on God. Tear down the old foundation and build a new one. Take some time and give it to God.